Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Finer Tune. Today we are going to discuss a song from 1972, a song by a guy by the name of John Denver. That's why the Colorado Avalanche jersey here. Uh, now, back in uh, back in 1972, John Denver had a song that was misunderstood by a lot of people. Was actually banned on some radio stations because they thought it was a drug reference, when really it wasn't about that at all. It was literally about going to the mountains. Rocky Mountain High. Was John Denver high? Maybe, I don't know. Who wasn't back then? So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to find that out, but he's long dead, so does it even matter at this point? Plus, it's just a great song. Let's go ahead and get into it if y'all don't mind here. Um, the song starts off um, basically a guy coming to the mountains. You know, he was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found the key for every door. So, what's going on here? He's experiencing the wonder of this new place. This place out here in the mountains. Hey, where am I? I like this place. Um, this is a place I could see myself, you know. Um, being born, being born in the summer of his 27th year, you might say he was born again. He's experiencing that awe and wonder of, um, a new baby coming into the world, or just watch as a child experiences something new for the first time. Take a 3 or 4 year old kid and show them something that, I mean, sure, we know it and we take it for granted, but when they find it out for the first time, it's the most amazing thing ever. And that's what this guy is doing here. I mean, he's in his 20s and he's experiencing this for the first time. And it's amazing, and when it says that but when he's coming home to a place that he'd never been before, and he left yesterday behind him, that's, well, home isn't necessarily where you're from. I mean, take this house for example, right? This is my home. I haven't always lived here, but when my wife and I looked at this house, when we were shopping for a house, we looked around and we found this place, and you know what? This is home. We had never been here before, but we knew it was home. You know, Same thing with the character in our song here. The possibilities just seem endless. I mean, he's leaving the old behind to start over new here. You know, the next verse, well, how does that go? It says, when he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road and hanging by a song. But the string's already broken and he doesn't really care. It keeps changing fast and it won't last for long. Well, obviously, John Denver is writing this autobiographically. I mean, he's not originally from Colorado, but being a musician out on the road, it's a hectic life. You know, he wants and needs something different. You know, he's out on the road hanging by a song, you know, and when he says that it keeps changing fast and it don't last for long, that's life. Life is constantly changing. We're always moving forward. And it's just kind of crazy sometimes. I mean, let's just take a look at, technology just in my lifetime, how much that has advanced. I mean, I remember having to do this to make a phone call, and now we literally have massive computers in our pockets. Actually, that's how I'm recording this video, is with a phone, So to see technology advance that much just in my own lifetime, so things are changing fast, but it don't last for long, meaning life isn't long. I mean, we only have a short time here. There's a lot going on in a short amount of time. So you want to just kind of slow down and enjoy what time you do have here, and enjoy what's right in front of you. Let's just kind of slow it down a little bit, I mean, because what we have here, right here in the here and now, what's wrong with enjoying that? Not a thing. Now, when he gets into the chorus, actually, I'm going to get to the chorus here later, after I go through the verses, because one line changes in the chorus. So I'm going to skip over the chorus for right now and go to the next verse. He climbed cathedral mountains. He saw silver clouds below. He saw everything as far as you can see. And they say that he got crazy once and tried to touch the sun, and he lost a friend, but kept the memory. Cathedral mountains. Does he mean that they're just reaching toward heaven like a cathedral? That's my guess as to what he's saying. That's what makes the most sense to me. But it could be a more religious context as to where this is his cathedral. This is where he goes to worship, So he climbed the cathedral mountains and he saw the silver clouds below. You get high enough in the mountains, yeah, sometimes you can see clouds below. You could see everything as far as you can see. Have you ever been in a spot where you can just look out and see seemingly forever? That's amazing, when you're in a spot like that. I mean, which reminds me of another song that I might get to later. But you can see for miles. And it's just fantastic. It's like right here in this spot. What can't I see? And with everything that you can see, there's still so much that you can't. Now, as far as him getting crazy once and trying to touch the sky, well, that could mean that he's just trying to get all the way to the top of that mountain, just going up there just as high as he possibly can into the mountains, trying to touch the sun and just reaching for that pinnacle. That could be what it is. What he's actually saying with that line, I don't know. And he lost a friend, but kept the memory. Now, one interpretation that I've read, and that I've only read one person say this, and I don't know if this person is credible or not. But based on other interpretations, I don't think what this person is saying is accurate. One interpretation is that the narrator is metaphorically dead. I mean, and he is the friend. But he still remembers where he came from and how he got to where he is. That, like I said, that's one interpretation that I've read. And that does make sense. And maybe that's how you interpret it, but what I've read that actually has more credibility to it, I've seen it in multiple places. And to the best of my knowledge, this was actually corroborated by John Denver himself. A friend of his died in a motorcycle accident, actually riding John Denver's motorcycle. And he crashed that motorcycle and died. So that's how he lost a friend. But he kept the memory because, well, don't you keep the memory of people you lose? Of course you do. So, that's where he is there. I mean, that's a sad situation. So now we get into this next verse here. The next verse here. Now he walks in quiet solitude, the forests and the streams, seeking grace in every step he takes. His sight has turned inside himself to try and understand the serenity of a clear blue mountain lake. What is he saying here? He's just taking in his surroundings, I mean, quiet solitude. That's nice, isn't it? I mean, when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you've got nothing around you, and you can just kind of take in what's going around you. Seeking grace in every step he takes. And this could be a religious context. In fact, I tend to believe it is. Not necessarily religious in the sense of being a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, being Jewish or a Hindu or something like that. Maybe he's just a spiritual being, who just believes in a higher power and looking for grace that way. And his sight is turned inside himself. He's looking inward. And he's trying to understand, why is this where I belong? I belong here, but why? I mean, that's the way I understand it. Again, you may have a different interpretation of that. And then they go into the chorus again, and we're going to get to that. We'll do that at the end. Now his life is full of wonder, but his heart still knows some fear of a simple thing he cannot understand. While they try to tear the mountains down to bring in a couple more people, more scars upon the land. He's environmentally conscious. He wants to take care of this place where he is. And the one thing that he can't comprehend is why somebody might want to bulldoze this section over here to build in some new skyscrapers, or put in maybe a subdivision over here, or a massive building there. Why would you carve into the mountains to do that? There are places where you can do that, and it doesn't have to be right here. That's the way I understand it. I had also heard, and again, I've only read this in one location, so I don't know if there's any truth to this or not. There was a discussion at the time about bringing the Olympics to Colorado. And they were concerned about, bringing in all these people from all over the world. And if you've ever seen the Olympics, you know that they build up these structures that a lot of times go to waste later. So maybe that's it. But that's not the way I understand it. Again, I've only read that in one place, but I tend to think it's more, hey, you know what? Everybody needs to have a place like this, but it can't be specifically here. I mean, wherever that may be. I mean, if for you that's in the desert or it's out on the plains or, maybe it's by the ocean. For me, it's in the mountains. And don't destroy this for profit, basically, I think is what he's saying here. Don't destroy what we have just to make a buck. It is what I hear him saying. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the choruses because one line changes every time. The Colorado Rocky Mountain High. I've seen it raining fire in the sky. What does he mean by that? Those two lines stay the same throughout. What he means by that is obviously Colorado Rocky Mountain High. He's high up in the mountains. Seen it raining fire in the sky. He's talking about a meteor shower that happened that inspired him to write this song. I mean, he sees this meteor shower and he's up there with some friends and they're just taking this in and it's just awe-inspiring. And it literally looks like fire raining from the sky. So that's what he's talking about there. Now, the verse that changes, the line that changes, not the verse, the line that changes. The shadows from the starlight is softer than a lullaby on the night that inspired this song. And I actually read an interview with John Denver where he said this himself. It was so clear. There was no moon, there were no clouds. The only light was from the stars above. And that's what caused the shadows. So you've got soft shadows from the starlight. Shadows from the starlight, softer than a lullaby. Lullaby, I think, is just to make things rhyme, but you get the point. Now, in the next chorus, that line switches to talk to God and listen to the casual reply. Is he literally praying like a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew would think about it? I don't know. Does it matter? Not really. What he's saying here is that whatever his definition of God may be, he's at peace. He's in a place where he can communicate with his version of God, whatever that may be. And when he hears the reply, that reply, it could mean just the wind through the trees. It could mean the birds and the other animals. Or maybe it just means that he's got the peace of mind to understand what he thinks God wants him to know. So, again, what does he know? Or what does he think about that? What did he mean by that? Who knows? There's a few different possibilities there. Now in the chorus again, they change it one more time here to, I know he'd be a poorer man if he never saw an eagle fly. Basically, he's saying money and wealth are not the same thing. Whatever his financial status is, he's rich because he's been here and he's seen this, and there's that eagle there, and you know you might see that bear over there in the woods, or that elk, being surrounded by these trees, just being here in these mountains. I am richer because of this, what's around me. I mean, to me, that's pretty obvious. And then, in the last chorus, he changes that line one more time. And this is the one that really kind of makes people wonder, is this a drug song? Is it not? Again, I think no, but who knows? It was the early 70s. A lot of people were smoking weed back then. Friends around the campfire and everybody's high. Were they high because they were smoking up? Maybe. Or were they high on the fact that, wow, would you look at this meteor shower that we're seeing? Or look at all those stars in the sky? Or just look at everything around us here. Or maybe it's a combination of the two. Maybe it's taking in all of that and smoking up. Who knows? It's open for interpretation. I know that John Denver actually defended this particular song in 1985, which would have been 13 years after it came out, when he testified before the United States Senate against the PMRC, Parents Musical Resource Center, when they were going after heavy metal music at the time. And John Denver was the one guy that those senators really wanted to take seriously, and he came out because he had been the victim of such censorship, not so much by the government, but by radio stations. He had been censored by these radio stations because of this song, that he took a stand some years later against censoring other people's music because he knew what happened to him. But, that's basically my understanding of the song. Does it mean something different to you? Is there something you want me to cover? Give me a like. Give me a share. Go ahead and subscribe. Did I forget something? There's an alert bell somewhere. You can ring the bell. So like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment. I'm going to be coming back with something soon. What is it? Stay tuned.